putting in my trusty microphone on. Okay, there we go. Trying I'm giving my LG G6 another chance here. Headlines for Monday, the 27th of August, 2018. Some California headlines. This is one of my windsocks. This is called the whale's vagina. So if you think, do I need a windsock? Can you hear the wind blowing? Because I have an actual one standing by, but it would, of course, cover up my my cool microphone. So Monday morning, August 27th, 2018, two big California headlines jump out at one. The first is that there is a bill that has been entered into the Assembly that would allow people who can't prove their legal status to serve on committees and boards. And this includes paid salaried positions on boards. If you're not in California, then a quick little education. This thing was shedding. No, this is actually it's a windsock. It goes on one of my cameras. Not the GoPro, and not my virtual reality camera, as seen here, but a different camera. So if you're not from California, then you need to know that we have term limits here, and term limits were promised to be the cure-all for legislative malaise. We have an assembly comprised of a House and a Senate, and now they have term limits. Problem is, we still have a one-party state, except for the fact that a couple Democrats, 5 Democrats total last year in 2016, the Me Too movement cost 5 Democrats their seats. They resigned out of Sacramento, and they lost their supermajority. And a couple of the seats flipped to Republicans in the special elections, because that's the only way you can win in California is recall and do special elections, because only Republicans, and apparently only Asian Republicans, go out for those votes. So if you run an Asian after a Democrat has resigned, you're going to win. Anyway, so in California, we have many. Whoops, sorry about that. The regions. California, we have a zillion boards, endangered species board, the soil board, the water resources board, all these boards that have authority or federal functions like soil conservation. You know, there's an entire U.S. bureaucracy, part of the Department of Interior, and in fact, part of the Bureau of Land Management that does that. But anyway, California does this shit. So anyway, so there are many boards, and most of the positions are salaried. And why is that? Well, it's because when this is why I'm bringing it back in a loop to the term limits, because the way our assembly got around the term limits was by establishing all these boards. So the normal career progression in Sacramento is you go up there in the assembly, you get turned out of the assembly, so you run for the Senate, you get turned out of the Senate, and then right before you leave the Senate, you cut a deal, you sell your vote, because you're a whore, you sell your vote as a Republican or a Democrat to people who are not termed out, and you get a seat on a board like the Clean Air Resources Board. That's probably the most high-profile one. The CARB and the Public Utilities Board came to people's attention a couple of years ago. The Public Utilities Board are the ones who approved the new smart thermostats that allow a utility worker, LADWP, SoCal Edison, Burbank, to sit there in front of your house at the curb and read not just your meter, that's a different deal, but read your house's thermostat. And if required, they will, for instance, in the middle of a really hot day, to reduce electrical demand, they will raise your temperature. So if you have your house set, at 76 or 77, without you even knowing it, they'll just pull up out front of your house and they'll turn it up to 81 or something. So that's one thing that the public utility dudes do. The Clean Air Resources Board, these whores, part of my problem with the Cal Times, people not qualified to be on a particular board are named to that board. And the Clean Air Resources Board is a great example because they should be scientists, right? They should be academics or scientists, but that's not who goes on the CARB. The Clean Air Resources Board a couple of years ago, this is a true story. They considered banning the sale of black cars in California because without doing an ounce of research or talking to anybody in the automotive industry, they decided that black cars are inherently hotter on the inside. Therefore, the air conditioning is used at a greater rate. And the air conditioning, as we all know, puts a strain on the engine. And so air conditioning causes greater CO2. Ergo, black car equals global warming. And I like to point out that I raised on that topic first. So there's that. And it was only after some people in the automotive industry, some people from sales, from retail sales and all that, all the way to automotive engineers, contacted the California Clean Air Resources Board. And they said, that's not why the interior of cars get hot. It's because of the color of the fucking car. It's because the sun hits the dashboard. Period. The heat in your car is caused by sun coming into the car and heating the interior, primarily off the dashboard. So there's that. And then also, of course, in California, we have the tinting rules. Law enforcement drove that you can't tint your windows past a certain shade. Anyone tinted your windows or you have tinted windows, it actually makes a pretty big difference in your automobile. So there's that as well. But so anyway, the Clean Air Resources Board is a great example of a board of unqualified, imbeciles who capriciously apply regulations without judicial review or legislative review. And this is one of these things where it's a political reward for people on their way out of the Senate or whatever. So anyway, this bill in Sacramento right now, if they had a supermajority, it would pass. Luckily, they don't. But the bill would allow the bill would allow a California board to name an illegal alien to sit on the board. Occasionally on some of these boards, they'll have a citizen sit in, or whatever. But the crazy deal is they're wording this so that they're saying that proof of legal residence is no longer a requirement to be on a California board. So in other words, you could name somebody in Maine to be on a California payrolled advisory board. Okay, and you know what? I wouldn't object that loudly to it. I would point out it's a bit ridiculous that somebody in Maine is who doesn't live here is on the California Clean Air Resources Board. The intent of the bill, by wording it like that, is not to put Canadians on the board of maple syrup or whatever, but to get illegal aliens to vote for more Democrats. It's ridiculous that you would put someone who's in this country illegally on a board. You wouldn't put somebody on death row on the California Department of Corrections parole board, would you? But so anyway, that's what they're doing, and so it's absolutely ridiculous. But then again, in California, headline number 2 is from the LA Times Sunday that high-speed fail. Wait a minute. Okay, that high-speed rail is costing California $3.1 million per day, and that puts it on track to be the most expensive public works project in history. Now, the LA Times said in recent history, they were citing the Big Dig in Boston, the Bay Bridge up in San Francisco, the Highway 99 tunnel in Seattle. No, high-speed rail is going to beat all those. In fact, by the time it's done, you might be able to fold all three of those very expensive public transportation projects into high-speed fail. So what they're saying is, with inflation, that 3.1 million, in order to make the 2033 deadline at the $77 billion budget, they will have to speed up work approximately times 9. And that means speed up spending. In other words, to beat inflation down the road, you have to spend more right now. So in other words, they're talking about what, 27 million a day. And this is before this thing is killed. I'm trying to do call waiting. I'm trying to disable call waiting LG G6, and I cannot find a setting anywhere where it says call waiting interrupt. So anyway, what they're selling, we need to increase spending by 9 times in order to beat inflation down the road. And this is to bring something that's already way over budget and way past schedule. Their new schedule is online in 2033. In 2033, it still will not go the speed it has to go. In order for it to do what it promised on that ballot initiative back in 2008, it has to have an overall speed faster than anything on Earth, faster than the bullet train in Japan, faster than TGV in France, faster than the German high-speed train. The California high-speed rail system is the longest run. The longest French line is Paris to Lyon, which you can do Paris to Lyon in about an hour and a half, which is better than an airplane, because the TGV in France leaves from the center of Paris and it terminates at the center of Lyon. So you're not going 20 miles out of Paris to get in line, to get on a plane, just to fly 20 miles outside of Lyon. So that's why that works. Good for the French. You know, I highly recommend it. It's a fun train. You wouldn't even know when you're on a train because they weld the rails. They don't do what we do. They actually weld the rails. So it just goes. California has to go an average of 40 miles an hour faster than the French train in order to make it in its promised time, which was 2 hours, 20 minutes from Los Angeles to San Francisco. And along that way, it travels on commercial train lines. So it will slow down and speed up and slow down and speed up. It will never reach 165 miles an hour. In other words, for that average, for it to hit that average, it has to, in some stretches, go over 200 miles an hour. Okay, well, maybe you'll have high-speed rail trains that can do that, except there's one thing they can't change between now and 2033, is that the world's most expensive high-speed rail train, more expensive than any other transportation project in American history, which has this pie-in-the-sky trip time promise, is still being... You missed my punchline. Okay. After all that, after the budget increase and the over budget, the overtime on the trip time, after all that, there's one thing they can't change, and that is that they are building the world's most, the fastest high-speed train system in the world over the world's most active seismic fault. Womp, womp, womp. There you go. That no one's ever addressed that. That we're sitting here retrofitting buildings. You're paying earthquake insurance, all that, because we know what's coming. We know that we're overdue, even for a minor earthquake, and that if a major one comes, then it's going to be north of 100 billion by the time it's done. It'll be money wasted because no one will ever get on it again because there will be some horrible disaster. So where I live, I'm actually, as the crow flies or as the raven flies, I am actually about 7 linear miles from the southern end of San Andreas Fault, which is in Valley, between Santa Clarita and Antelope Valley. There's a rift valley that actually has a road on it. If you want to go from Palmdale to Lake Hughes, which is over there, if you want to go visit the world famous Rock Inn, you go on Leona Valley Road, and that road is almost straight east-west, and it is built in the rift. Um, that's the southern end of San Andreas Fault. I'm not sure if there's no crows in California. I know that they're rare. If there are, they're in cities, but overwhelmingly, we are a pure raven state. And I'm trying to get Margot, my raven, to come in here. I hear her out there. Maybe I'll get her on video if I hear. I can actually call her, and I'm not kidding. She knows my voice. My wife does it great. My wife can imitate her so well that 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 I think it's her. I think it's Margot, but she comes and knocks on the door when she's tired of scavenging. And my daughter and I, we were calling her a flying trash panda, but now we call her the flying raccoon. But let me see. Ah! Ah! There. It's weird when I do that sound. She flies to me. But her parents, she has actually reunited with the mating pair. The ravens mate for life, and the mating pair that had a nest on a power pole here on our property. The three chicks, something kicked them out, a raptor, an owl, or something, and two of them baked alive in the sun. And when we got Margot, she was barely hanging on. We cooled her down, gave her water, so that's how she's ours. And when we started kicking her out of the house to go be a raven, she did reunite with her parents. So now we used to see this pair of ravens flying around, and then Margot flying around. Now we see three ravens flying around. And it is funny because ravens play. They're extremely intelligent birds. They do play, and I'll get some on video. But they play. They sit there in the thermal, and they will sit there and play. And what they do, and scientists have noted this, by the way, is a bunch of ravens, because ravens have territories, but ravens also have neutral territories. And there's a huge field. There's about a 200-acre field right next to me. And the ravens will get in the hot air that's rising, the thermals, and they will actually get in line, and they will soar up, 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 and then they'll shoot out the top, and they'll get back in line. It's like kids at a water slide. It's amazing. And we looked that up, and there's a bunch of scientific literature describing raven behavior that we didn't know about, and we thought we discovered it. But this is apparently pretty well known that ravens do this. So I will see if I can get it on video or with one of my many drones. This is a good one here, by the way. As long as we're just wrapping it down. I have one of my drones. I got Margot actually sort of acclimated to it, and it's a really cool drone. Right here. It has my dog Lucy, the one that died a couple months ago, the one that was hit by a rattlesnake and survived. She bit this out of midair. That's her tooth mark. But this is a really cool drone because you go like this. You flip them out. And you have your drone. You have a camera right up there. Its only drawback is that's a fixed angle. That is a fixed angle camera. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not. It also has a light in front. Anyway, these are really, really cool, and you can pick these up on Amazon for around $45. So if you lose one, so what? But like I say, this one is endorsed by an angry border collie. She bit this right out of the air. It's called the Elfie Plus. But when you're done with it, you go like that, fold them up. And there you go. Bob's your uncle, is what I say. But yes, I have. They're getting kind of a little more used to that, but they still. I have some video of one of them flying right up to it and sort of interrogating it, and of course I can't find it now. So anyway, that's what I will do. Well, let's see, 21 minutes. I'll end you with this. I've got some weird California, as it's called, up at Edwards Air Force Base in 1943. Close enough, if you were near Highway 58, you could see it. But the Army Air Corps built a full-scale replica on the dry lake bed, on the Muroc dry lake bed. After the Army Air Forces bought the dry lake as a bombing range in 1933 from the family, the Coram family that owned it, and turned it into a bombing and gunnery range. In 1943, they built a full-scale, a 1-to-1, it's a 700-foot model of a Japanese destroyer, and I forgot the class of destroyer, but it was called the Muroc Maru. And it stayed up all through World War II, including a couple times when the dry lake flooded in the winter. So it actually looked like it was on the water. And it was finally taken down in 1950. The Muroc Maru was up as a target up until 1950. And then for some reason it was called a flying hazard. And it was built out of old growth cedar 4x4s, and the thing was very, very robust. And the problem was when they came to take it down, there were so many unexploded bombs near the thing that they spent like 2 years with EOD, with explosive ordnance disposal, getting rid of it. But I'll tweet a picture of it, the Muroc Maru. And so it was taken down a little after 1950. And its site is visible on Google Earth, but there's just nothing there anymore. So there. I would have burned it. I would have just burned the goddamn thing down. You know, and since it was a bombing range anyway, who cares about the EOD shit? You know, and so burn the thing down, and maybe you get some sympathetic detonations or whatever. But you probably get the Comp B or TNT burning and melting out of the bombs. But who cares? It's a bombing range. But anyway. That'd be me. So that's your weird California for August 27th, 2000. Oops, wrong one. All right. And for the good of the order, are there any questions? Did I miss any questions here? Cool. Oh, Argo is awesome. I always heard that. Only Crows and Ravens. Yeah, high-speed rail, just a slush fund for Jerry Brown cronies. Yeah. If you see who some of the, like Nancy Pelosi's husband is behind a lot of the contracting. Dianne Feinstein's husband, who besides being balls deep in Chinese shipping with Costco and others, he's involved as well. I want to say Costco right now is in a war with Maersk, which is a Danish owned. Yeah, Maersk is Danish owned. Costco, the Chinese overseas shipping company, not Costco, but COSCO. Whenever you see those connexes on a truck in America, big blue COSCO, China Overseas Shipping Company, that's owned by the PLA. That shipping company is owned by the People's Liberation Army. You know, there's no merchant shipping that's privately run out of China. Even if you started the company and you're a billionaire, you still answer to the Chinese government. That's how the Chinese run capitalism. It's you do the work, and at a time and place where we need you, we will call you and you will do us a favor. So there's that. Lamont Cranston says, consider doing a preparation show. You know what? If you go way back, go about 2 or 3 years back, I've done a bunch of those. where I talk about, you got a zillion different ways to boil water. Here in my man bunker, and like I'll show you uh, some of the different things that I use, things that I'm a fan of. These are, by the way, these things. I'll do a quick one as long as we're talking. You can buy these at Walmart. They're Stanley. They come bare metal. This is a real simple way to boil water. I think it's 1 liter. Is that what it is? No, it's about 3/4 of a liter. And it comes with 2 insulated cups, 2 stackable cups. These are really durable, thick plastic. And you go like that, and you get 2 of them, right? But it does not come with a way to heat the water. So what I do is I have a little stand right here, and it fits it fits around my denatured alcohol stove, like this. This is a denatured alcohol stove. Okay. Are you all still there? Good. All right. Deep stove. Tranja is the most famous Swedish brand. And the concept behind these is you go to Home Depot and you buy denatured alcohol. This is in the thinner and solvent section of the paint section. So there's linseed oil and urethane and acetone, things like that. That's if you're making a ampho bomb, an ammonium phosphate bomb. That's not what this is. This is denatured alcohol. This burns with no residue or scent. It also burns silently. You pour this in here. And as it burns, this is why it's brass, it heats up really quickly. And what it really quickly does, the fire in here heats this thing up. And then slowly, these little perforations turn into little jets. And so it will sit here silently burning. And what you do is you sit it on that. I'm sorry, I'm missing a step. You set your little pot stand like that on that, right? And then you put your pot on there, your pot full of water on there. But what if it's windy? KFI's Brian. Well, then you invest in one of these. This is a thin piece of aluminum. It goes like this. So you have this on level ground, you light it, then you put this on there, and the pot will fit in there. The best part about all this is when you buy this thing at Walmart or Target, it does not come with anything except these 2 cups. So the really cool thing is this fits in there like so. Goes all the way down there like that. Then this fits on there like that. Now I put this in there like that. See that? Dude. Now my denatured alcohol stove fits there, and look at that. Bob's your uncle. Put the lid back on. By the lid has a strainer, so if you're boiling found vegetables or mushrooms or whatever, you can pour the broth off and drink that separately. And it has a good locking handle. It's a robust little unit, and this is a great adaptation. And by the way, I am using the Esbit, the German stove on this one. So So there you go. That's just one method. One of the reasons I really like denatured alcohol is because I became a convert in Bosnia with some of the Nordic guy, the Norwegians and Swedes, the Nordpol Brigade dudes really hit me on it. The thing I like most about it is that it's silent. It actually, in higher altitudes, it takes longer to boil, but it doesn't make a sound. I put a high temperature coating enamel on the outside just so it would heat up faster. But anyway, that is a example of that. And real quickly, another real simple way to boil water really light is, of course, the world famous Esbit cubes. These are actually exactly like the cubes that the German troops carried in World War II to heat their rations. You can quarter these individually or burn the entire thing. It burns on a stove, and again, this is identical to the stoves that the Germans carried in World War II. And the intent here is that you carry the tabs in here. So this is a stove, right? And it says right there, show or that way for a small cup. So you open. It's steel. You take one of these out, and it rests right there in the middle. There's a little holder there for it. A fun tip. A German soldier is the one who taught me this. Don't rest them down. If you need a quick hot burn, don't rest them like that when you take them out. When you take them out of there, rest them on their side like that. And you'll get a very small surface that's not burning, and then you'll get every other surface burning. So that's a little tip. These are steel covered in zinc, and it's literally the same design that the Wehrmacht used in World War II. I mean, made on the same machines and everything. If you're really cool, you'll get one that was made during the Cold War, and it says on the back, made in West Germany. I have a couple of those, but all they did was they took the word West out. See, it used to say right there, made in West Germany. Now it just says made in Germany. So that's the Esbit stove. Also, these burn silently with no odor. And so that's really cool. There's two other versions. There's a big version here. This is called the Tommy cooker. The British took this and they said, hey, that's not big and flimsy enough. So the British made the Tommy cooker, which is the same thing, but it's a little bigger. So that's a Tommy cooker. The East Germans took the Esbit cooker and they said, how can we make it cheaper and smaller? So this is the East German version for scale. This is about this. I don't know. I guess this is like a pack of cigarettes. So this is like an American pack of cigarettes. So those are the two. So the difference with the East German cooker, and in many ways, the East German cooker might be more efficient. For the East German cooker, you go like that and it's open. There's no air holes for the fuel tab or anything. Very simple, simpler than this, if that's possible, but very stable, very sturdy. And you close it like that and slide that dude in there. Then you close this slightly bigger one, slide it there, you know, and this this fits in that. So anyway, this kind of cooking, this is definitely an acquired taste. If you want to do this stuff, you can get these at REI. Best advice on this, best practices here. Do it on Amazon and buy a big pack. Buy like buy one with this has 12 cubes of Trockenbrennstoff. combustible solide. So there's 12 tabs in this. Get a bigger one. The more you get, the cheaper. There are a couple fakes. They don't burn as well as the original, the Esbit. However, there's one exception. If you're on Amazon, then look for Bluet. There's a French company called Bluet or Bluet. I'm sorry, Bluet, and it's Bluet, Bluet, and they make French. And they make a really good cube as well. They make a really good solid fuel tab as well. Bluet, Bleuet. So anyway, that's your adventures in solid fuel cooking. Esbit, by the way, I'll say this for them. I may as well show you this. They are very good at servicing their brand. If you wanna cook with these things, then you can get an actual purpose built. A cute little cooker that just burns us. See this? Your little look. There's the little handle right there. But wait, there's more. You open that dude up, and look at this. You put the tab right in there in the bottom, right? And that fits right on there like that, and you can light it. They light with a match, by the way. And then, so it comes with its own windscreen. So that's what's cool about this. This serves as a windscreen. So if you're camping in the desert or whatever, then you're all done. This goes back in there. You can put a cup or whatever. The thing that I took out of this, is this deal. If you want to be absolutely positively safe in your car, and you want to absolutely positively have a way to boil water, then there's nothing better than, this is the simplest thing in the world. This is Swiss. It's the Notkocher. Of course, it's Swiss, so it has to be in German, French, and Italian. The Réchaud de Secours. The Fornellino Emergencia. Or Emergenza. This is a 1971 design. This is how it comes. It comes sealed like this, and it comes with this thing. You invert this, and that's your stand. Look at that. Ermagerd. It fits perfectly. Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm already fucking this up. You take this deal, you unscrew it, and look at that. There's a full. Okay, are we back? Don't worry, I delayed. Okay, so where were we? Let's do this. So you take this dude, and let's say you just got it out of your trunk, right? And oh no, we're socked in, but I want to boil some water because I'm so smart. I brought chicken bouillon or beef bouillon, which is great because it's all fatty. And all that, and if you know what to add to it, if you know that there's local vegetables around, you can run out and get those. So anyway, you brought beef bouillon. Okay. I held up, don't worry. Okay, so anyway, sealed, this 5. Inside is a really, it's sort of like a sterno heater, right? But it's got even more alcohol and less gel. This generates more heat than a sterno, way more. This boils water. A sterno, just keeps things warm. This boils. And so you cut that foil. You remove the foil as much as you can. Now you take the pot stand and you go like that. See, there's a lip there, and this fits perfectly in there like that. And as long as you found flat ground, this thing is super stable. So you put your pot on there, you boil your water, all is well. You take it off. The second you take it off, get a stick or a pencil or something, and you just go, boop, and you pop that thing off, and you take the lid and you go and screw it back on, let it cool down, and you put the fire out. That's how you do that. And so this has dozens and dozens and dozens of water boils in it. You can boil this much water. Probably, I'll try it out someday. I'll sit here time after time doing it. But I think that you can do 50 boils out of one of these. Pro tip, if you get these, and you can get these all over Amazon. It's called a not cooker. If you look for Swiss cooker, you'll find it. Pro tip, very important. It does not say anywhere on here in German, Italian, or French. Doesn't say it anywhere. It should, but it does not. When you blow this out, be real simple. Blow it out like that. Just rob it of oxygen. Let it cool. Let it cool. Let this cool. This is steel. The other thing is brass, and it cools down really fast. This is steel. There's a seal on the lid, but do not seal this thing when it's hot. When it cools down, it creates a vacuum, and I'm not shitting you. This thing creates a vacuum. If you put this back on when it's hot, it takes Mike fucking Tyson to get that lid off. So let it cool down. It only takes whatever time you're taking eating or hot chocolate or whatever. By the time you're done, this will be cooled down. But do not replace this lid on here when it is still hot, or else you'll have to sacrifice it and pop a hole in there to release the vacuum. It's got a really serious vacuum. Then you just take this back on there. Boop, look at that. Snaps together. Put this back in your pocket. Or look at that. Oh, wow. It fits right in there. So that goes there. It goes back to the little net. And then off you go. So this is perfect stuff, by the way, for like 2 p.m. And I'm not kidding. Like if you're just hiking in the Malibu mountains, or you're like up, at Runyon Canyon or whatever, early in the morning, and you, well, actually, there's no fires allowed there. But this is considered a stove. This is not an open fire. This is considered a stove. There. So anyway, Kennedy's producer is calling me, wants to know where I want to do my live hit tonight. So I will sign out. Thanks for listening. I know it's not Dark Secret Play stuff when I'm doing headlines about high-speed rail, but I will probably start doing this a lot more. All right, I have to answer Kennedy's producer because I'm on Kennedy tonight at 5 p.m. on Fox Business Network, and I will comb my hair. All right. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for subscribing. And I don't know if it pops up here or here when I'm broadcasting, but if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.